Remember Jimmy McElwain on the yard used to say, you want to be making moves on the street, have no attachments. What am I doing? I'm talking to an empty telephone.
I don't understand.
Because there was a dead man on the other end of this fucking line.
Directed by Michael Mann, Heat, 1995, is one of the most acclaimed crime thrillers ever made. With its gripping story of cops and robbers locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse, the film brought together two acting legends, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, for their first on-screen face-off. Famous for its meticulous realism, unforgettable shootouts, and deep character work, Heat has become a cornerstone of modern cinema. But behind the tense heists and iconic performances, the making of Heat was full of fascinating stories and surprising details. Here are 20 shocking facts you didn't know about Heat, 1995. Number 1. Vincent Hannah was originally written as a cokehead. In Michael Mann's early drafts of Heat, Al Pacino's character, Lieutenant Vincent Hannah, was explicitly written as a cocaine addict. The idea was eventually dropped from the final screenplay, but the traces of that backstory still linger in his performance. Hannah's unpredictable energy, sudden outbursts, and eccentric line deliveries
Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got!
are all tied to Pacino playing him as someone secretly fueled by addiction. Pacino later explained in an interview with director Christopher Nolan that he approached the character as if Hannah were still using cocaine, even though it's never shown on screen. This interpretation adds a hidden layer to the detective's manic personality, making his intensity feel erratic, yet believable.
Who told you that motherfucker? Who?
Audiences may not have realized it at the time, but Pacino was channeling the chaos of an addict, shaping Hannah into one of his most unhinged roles. Number 2. Don Johnson was a backup for both Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. When Michael Mann was assembling the cast of Heat, he knew the film depended on securing two powerhouse leads. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino were his dream choices, but there was always the risk that scheduling conflicts or contract issues might derail the plan. To cover himself, Mann lined up Miami Vice star Don Johnson as a backup, remarkably for either role. Johnson was prepared to step in as master thief Neil McCauley or obsessive cop Vincent Hannah if one of the legends dropped out.
Splits in the car, took out of ours, evenly.
Ultimately, both De Niro and Pacino signed on, giving fans the historic face-off they'd been waiting for. Still, the idea of Johnson stepping into either role remains a fascinating what-if scenario, showing how differently the film might have turned out without its iconic duo. Number 3. Michael Mann initially didn't want to direct the movie. Although Heat is now considered Michael Mann's signature masterpiece, the director originally had no intention of helming the project himself. Mann first developed the story in the 1980s and even produced a made-for-TV version called L.A. Takedown in 1989. His plan was to hand off the theatrical adaptation to another filmmaker while he focused on other projects. However, when studios expressed interest in expanding the script into a full-length feature, Mann was persuaded to return. He realized only he fully understood the level of realism, procedural detail, and psychological depth required to bring the story to life. Taking the reins himself, he transformed Heat into a sprawling, 3-hour epic that balanced intimate character studies with large-scale action. What started as a project he considered passing on became the defining film of his career. Number 4. The cast hung out with actual cops and robbers. To capture the gritty authenticity of Heat, Michael Mann arranged for his cast to shadow real-life cops and criminals. Al Pacino spent time with LAPD detectives, studying their habits, mannerisms, and even their exhaustion after long shifts. Meanwhile, Robert De Niro met with actual ex-cons who had pulled major heists, learning about their methods, mindset, and discipline. Val Kilmer and Tom Sizemore also sat in on tactical training sessions to understand how criminals handled weapons under pressure. Mann wanted the actors to blur the line between reality and fiction, grounding the film's intensity in lived experience. This research gave the performances a striking realism. When De Niro's crew plans their heist or Pacino's team discusses strategy, it feels authentic because much of it was pulled directly from real-world police.
Bang, 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 bang. Side. This guy here, has got what appears to be a double tap entry wound to the sternum.
And criminal behavior. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome movie facts. And tell us in the comments, what movie brings you the most nostalgia, and which one should we cover next? Number 5. Not a single scene was filmed on a soundstage. One of the reasons Heat feels so raw and authentic is because Michael Mann refused to use traditional Hollywood soundstages. Instead, every single scene was shot on real locations around Los Angeles. From the coffee shop showdown between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro to the epic downtown shootout, all of it was filmed in actual businesses, streets, and neighborhoods. Mann believed that the texture of real locations, the lighting, the acoustics, even the imperfections, added an irreplaceable layer of realism. Shooting on location also forced the actors to fully inhabit their environment, reacting to real spaces instead of fabricated sets. This commitment to authenticity made production more difficult and expensive, but it paid off.
Anybody have any idea where the fuck these people are?
The result is a film that feels completely grounded, placing audiences right inside the gritty streets of Los Angeles crime and law enforcement. Number 6. Keanu Reeves was originally cast in Val Kilmer's role. Before Val Kilmer took on the role of Chris Shiherless, master thief Neil McCauley's right-hand man, the part was briefly set to go to Keanu Reeves. At the time, Kilmer was already committed to filming Batman Forever, 1995, and producers worried his schedule wouldn't allow him to join Heat. Since Reeves had just come off the success of Speed, 1994, he was brought in as a replacement. However, Kilmer was ultimately able to juggle both productions, and the role went back to him as originally intended. Reeves stepped aside, leaving Kilmer to bring Chris to life with his cool, volatile energy. While it's fun to imagine Reeves in the part, Kilmer's intense presence made the character unforgettable and cemented his place in one of the greatest crime ensembles ever assembled. Number 7. Elliot Goldenthal repurposed an unused musical cue for Michael Collins. Composer Elliot Goldenthal's brooding score is one of the reasons Heat feels so tense and atmospheric. Interestingly, one of its haunting musical cues almost ended up in a different movie entirely. Goldenthal originally wrote the piece for Neil Jordan's historical drama Michael Collins, 1996, but it wasn't used in that film's final cut. Instead of discarding it, Goldenthal adapted and repurposed the music for Heat. The cue's moody, meditative quality fit perfectly with Michael Mann's vision, particularly during scenes of quiet reflection that contrast the film's explosive action. This recycling not only showcased Goldenthal's versatility, but also reinforced Mann's careful balance of intensity and stillness. The result is a score that feels timeless and deeply intertwined with the film's atmosphere, even though one of its most memorable pieces was born from a completely different project. Number 8. The gunfire was recorded live. One of the most unforgettable sequences in Heat is the downtown Los Angeles shootout, praised for its realism and intensity. Unlike most Hollywood productions, Michael Mann refused to use canned sound effects for the gunfire. Instead, the cast fired live blanks on location, with microphones carefully placed to capture the raw echo of bullets ricocheting off buildings. The deafening blasts, bouncing through city streets, gave the shootout an authenticity no post-production mix could replicate. Actors like Al Pacino and Val Kilmer trained extensively with live weapons to ensure their movements looked authentic, further grounding the scene. The decision made filming logistically difficult. City officials had to shut down several blocks of downtown LA, but the results spoke for themselves. The shootout remains one of the most realistic depictions of gunfire in cinema history. Influencing countless action films that followed. Number 9. The story was based on a real cop. While Heat plays like an epic crime saga, its roots come from real life. Michael Mann based Al Pacino's character, Lieutenant Vincent Hannah, on Chicago detective Chuck Adamson, who spent years hunting a career criminal named Neil McCauley in the 1960s. The real McCauley was a professional thief who operated with military precision, much like Robert De Niro's character in the film. Adamson and Macaulay famously respected each other, even sharing a coffee before their inevitable clash, an encounter that directly inspired the movie's iconic diner scene. Eventually, Adamson shot and killed Macaulay during a failed robbery, ending their cat-and-mouse duel. Mann, fascinated by their story, developed it into a screenplay that evolved over decades. By grounding his crime epic in real events and personalities, Mann gave Heat a level of authenticity and emotional depth rarely seen in action films. Number 10. Pacino and De Niro didn't rehearse the diner scene. The legendary coffee shop meeting between Al Pacino's Lieutenant Hannah and Robert De Niro's Neil Macaulay is one of cinema's most iconic face-offs. Surprisingly, the actors never rehearsed the scene together beforehand. Michael Mann deliberately kept them apart, wanting their first real exchange to feel natural, unpredictable, and filled with tension. When cameras rolled, Pacino and De Niro met across the table for the very first time.
Regular type life.
The fuck is that? Barbecues and ball games?
Each fully embodying their character's mindset. The result was electric. Two acting giants playing off each other with total spontaneity. The pauses, the subtle shifts in tone, and the quiet intensity all came from that freshness. Mann's gamble worked, giving audiences a once-in-a-lifetime cinematic moment. To this day, the diner scene stands as a masterclass in acting, made unforgettable by the decision to keep it unrehearsed. Number 11. Val Kilmer's reload became military training material. One of the standout moments in Heat's legendary bank shootout comes when Chris Shiherlis, played by Val Kilmer, runs out of bullets and rapidly reloads his rifle in the middle of chaos. Kilmer trained extensively with live weapons and military advisors to make his movements second nature, and it paid off on screen. The reload is so clean, efficient, and technically accurate that the U.S. Marines later adopted it as a training example. Recruits are still shown Kilmer's clip change as a model of how to reload under pressure during firefights. When Kilmer learned about this, he was thrilled that his performance had gained respect not only from movie fans, but also from real soldiers. It's a rare case where Hollywood action choreography became practical instruction for military recruits in real life. Number 12. Kevin Gage was called Waingro in prison. Kevin Gage, who played the sadistic criminal Waingro in Heat, delivered such a chilling performance that the role stuck with him long after filming ended. In 2003, Gage was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison on marijuana charges. Once inside, he quickly discovered that fellow inmates, and even the guards, recognized him from the film. Almost everyone addressed him as Waingro, the unhinged, treacherous character who betrays De Niro's crew in the movie. Gage later admitted it was surreal and unsettling to be associated with such a despised villain.
You lie to me. I can always tell when people lie to me.
While actually serving time. Fortunately, he said most inmates understood the difference between the actor and the character, though the nickname never went away. The strange experience showed just how indelible his performance was. Waingro had become one of the most hated criminals in film history. Number 13. The coffee shop scene sold De Niro on the film. When Robert De Niro was first approached about starring in Heat, one element of the script immediately convinced him to sign on: the now iconic coffee shop scene. The intimate face-to-face between De Niro's master thief Neil Macaulay and Al Pacino's relentless cop Vincent Hannah was unlike anything in traditional crime films. Instead of a flashy shootout or interrogation, it was two men quietly acknowledging their similarities and differences over coffee. De Niro, Pacino, and director Michael Mann all admitted in interviews that they couldn't wait to shoot the scene once production began. For the actors, it was a rare chance to share the screen after years of comparisons, and for Mann, it was the dramatic centerpiece of the entire movie. The diner conversation became the soul of Heat, proving tension doesn't always need bullets. Number 14. Heat was the first film with Pacino and De Niro acting together. Although both Robert De Niro and Al Pacino starred in The Godfather Part 2, 1974, the film's split timeline kept their characters apart. For years, fans dreamed of seeing the two legends share the screen. When Heat was announced, the anticipation skyrocketed. Michael Mann built the story around their eventual coffee shop showdown, and the film's marketing heavily promoted it as a historic clash.
You must have worked some dipshit crews.
I worked all kinds. How you doing? What do you say I buy you a cup of coffee?
By its 1995 release, audiences were ready, and the pairing delivered, cementing Heat as a legendary cinematic rivalry. Number 15. Neil's gray suits were designed for disguise. In Heat, Robert De Niro's master thief, Neil McCauley, is almost always seen in sleek gray suits, a deliberate choice by Michael Mann and the costume team. Mann explained in the commentary that the neutral color worked as camouflage, letting Neil blend into crowds while appearing professional but forgettable. The look matched his philosophy as a career criminal: avoid attention and stay ready to walk away at any moment. De Niro embraced the minimalist style, projecting calm precision. The gray suits became a perfect extension of Neil's disciplined mindset.
You recognize the grill man?
Number 16. Amy Brenneman didn't want to be in the movie. When Amy Brenneman was offered the role of Edie, Neil McCauley's love interest, she hesitated. After reading the script, she admitted she disliked it, calling it too filled with blood and lacking a clear moral center. Brenneman didn't think she belonged in such a violent crime story, but Michael Mann convinced her that very hesitation made her perfect.
Done to you so far.
You go to school for that?
What are you reading?
Book about medals.
Edie wasn't meant to fit into Macaulay's world. Brenneman agreed, and her performance gave the film its moral contrast, softening Heat's otherwise relentless intensity. Number 17. The cast interviewed criminals at Folsom Prison. To make Heat feel authentic, Michael Mann had Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, and Tom Sizemore visit Folsom State Prison. There, they met real career criminals who had pulled robberies similar to those in the film. The inmates explained their methods, motivations, and mindset, giving the actors unique insights into their characters. De Niro studied their body language, while Kilmer and Sizemore noted how they spoke about loyalty and risk. Mann believed this research grounded the performances, helping the crew feel like genuine professionals on screen. Number 18. Real restaurant staff got SAG cards for the diner scene. The iconic diner face-off between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro was filmed at Kate Mantilini, a real restaurant in Beverly Hills. To make the scene feel authentic, Michael Mann used the restaurant's actual employees as extras, rather than professional background actors. Waiters, cooks, and staff can all be spotted working in the background as the two legends exchange dialogue. On the final day of filming, Mann surprised the employees by awarding them Screen Actors Guild cards, officially making them part of the production.
Pull out the garbage. Knock out the back. Take your break later.
For many, it was a once-in-a-lifetime Hollywood experience. Number 19. Val Kilmer took the role despite lower pay. In his autobiography, Val Kilmer revealed that his agent tried to steer him away from Heat. At the time, Kilmer was starring in Batman Forever, 1995, the year's highest-grossing live-action film, and his agent argued that the Heat paycheck didn't match his rising stardom. But Kilmer was determined to work with Michael Mann, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro, insisting the role was too good to pass up.
Charlene's gonna leave me. The bank is worth the risk. I need it, brother. We should stay and take it down. That's where I come out.
Instead of more money, Kilmer asked Mann for a different kind of compensation: prominent placement on the film's poster, right between Pacino and De Niro. Mann agreed, and Kilmer got his wish. His performance as Chris Shiherlis not only held its own alongside two acting giants, but also cemented his place in one of the greatest crime ensembles ever assembled. Number 20. De Niro passed the script to Pacino. Robert De Niro was the very first actor Michael Mann approached with the script for Heat. After reading it, De Niro immediately saw its potential and shared it with Al Pacino. Pacino was equally impressed and eager to join the project. Their enthusiasm set the foundation for the film's historic pairing, ensuring that two of cinema's greatest actors would finally share the screen in a full-length feature.
Okay, who do I have there now?
Drucker and me, boss, and Schwartz.
Tell SAS I want full surveillance. That's 24 hours.
And that's 20 shocking facts about Heat, 1995. From real-life inspiration to legendary performances, Michael Mann's crime epic remains one of the greatest films ever made. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment which movie we should cover next.